18 years old, and I needed, I wanted. My friend in school, his father ran a fish and chip shop, and I got a job there basically. I worked previous to that with my father selling sports programs, and I'm sure we'll come back to that at the Bristol Rugby Ground since I was like, but a 12 or something like that, so kind of like no stranger to work at the start. I was always keen to get involved and stuff, but I was always keen on cooking as well at home, so I got a job not in the local fish and chip shop, we owned 3, and he didn't have any work for me where I lived in Whitchurch, so I went to Longwell Green, which is just another suburb of Bristol, and got a job there. Started working Saturday nights, and I've been working Saturday nights ever since. So that's pretty much it, really. But yeah, so I worked there for a couple of years, part time, and then I was kind of convinced I wanted to open a fish and chip shop. I loved it, picked up everything. But moving on from there, leaving school, I did a year at sixth form, and then halfway through that, I got a job in a gastro pub, and when the gastro pub sort of thing was just starting to happen, really. And then, part-time, washing up, just to learn, and before I knew it, in 3 or 4 months, I was up on the starter section, making starters 3 nights a week, and then I finished sixth form after a year, just a year course, and then went full-time and took an apprenticeship. So I did 5 days a week in the restaurant, and one day at college. Student day to the apprenticeship actually was also like an assistant manager sort of role in the pub, but I was predominantly in the kitchen, but one day a week I would run the bar, run the restaurant, and help with all aspects of running of the business. And then I continued my chef training from there, did a bit of commercial catering, then went to Bristol, worked in the olive shed, ended up running that kitchen after about 3 or 4 months. I was about 21 by then, and then I did a bit of travel, did some work experience abroad. What we call in the industry, the French word called stage. The Americans call it an internship. Here we call it work experience or free labour.
And they were some pretty high-profile restaurants, weren't they? That you ended up working in.
I never worked in any high-profile restaurants full time, but with the staging I did, in California, the French Laundry in Napa Valley. At the time, it was #1 in the world. And it's just because I found the book in the bookshop, and I was like, what is this place? So I just sent them a letter and said, can I come and work? And they replied. I think you usually find like the most efficient restaurants or the best at their game, they'll always reply because they're good at what they do and they're thorough. They're sort of ones that are not maybe as good. I'm not saying they're not good. You get where I'm from. I probably lynched myself there because if I have actually missed an email from somebody, but I always kind of trying to make an effort to reply to everybody who sends you an email says, can I come and work? No problem. Or job application and stuff like that. Unless they don't give you a cover letter, then they don't reply.
What do you think you learned there? Is there anything you learned in that? I know it was a brief period, but anything you learned there that you've sort of still
abroad?
In those high-profile places.
Yeah, loads. I think for me, staging is sort of a bit like a sponge going to somewhere for a couple of days. You just learn endless amounts of stuff just by seeing it once, and a different approach to the way they run the kitchen, or a different approach to the way they do service, or a different approach to the way they build a kitchen, or the construction of something, or anything, or the way the floor is laid, anything. I would pick up on all these things. And that still happens today when I go and cook in other people's restaurants. Last week I was in London cooking at Petersham Nurseries, and they made a beautiful restaurant out of effectively a garden centre with the old glass houses, which can always look really drab, but this looked absolutely beautiful. And it's just like, and you just see that, and it makes me instantly think, like, why is there no one in Bristol doing something like this? There's so many garden centres in Bristol that are kind of like not looking great, and you can make it look so stunning. So you're always learning, and I think that little bit of exposure, like quick exposure, for me is always shorter time you're there, the more you absorb. As such, maybe I don't know. That might be just me. But.
So then you then came back to Bristol. So why did you want to come back here and not maybe work in California, London? The big cities.
I don't know. Well, no, actually, the main reason is before I became a chef, or when I when I was first still working in the chip shop, I wanted to. I knew one thing for sure, and it wasn't that I wanted to be a chef. Before that, whatever I did, I wanted to do it for myself. And that was instilled from a family point of view. My father's always run his own business, and I think that's just kind of what I was brought up with. And that's what I wanted to do from a young age, and that's what I did. I started my first business when I was 22. Pony and Trap, and we're 10 years in March next year.
So how did the Pony and Trap happen? Because I know it was an existing place that you
it's an existing. It's over 200 years old. Pub. I used to call the Rising Sun, it's now called the Pony and Trap. I didn't rename it. I was aware of the Pony and Trap. I was in Chew Valley. I went to school in Chew Valley. I'm from South Bristol, but I used to bus out to Chew Valley every day. I lived in Chew Valley for 10 years since. Moved back to Bristol now. But how did it come about? I mean, it came about for me, just on the internet, constantly looking for, I want to start a pub, I want to start a business, and looking at pubs that are available. And the Pony came available 2 years before we bought it. We didn't buy it because I was like 19 at the time, and I decided to go, and what I was doing, not quite sure. Anyway, 2 years later, it came back round, and I was away. I was on holiday, and I decided to buy it with a business partner as well. So I came back. I wasn't on holiday. I was working away. I had a business partner at the start. That didn't go that well, so he left after 2 months, and then. My parents, my family bought his half, and we've been a family business ever since. My sister's been there since day one, and we're very much a family business, so it's kind of all of us in it together.
What have and now you're, it's been very successful, Michelin star, but what have the challenges been of growing that business?
Well, they're kind of like, it's a way of life. We do, I say, and it's kind of, it's not cut out for everybody, I would say, and the first 5 years we didn't really make any money, you pay a wage, you pay myself a wage, which was £150 a week. I paid myself that until 4 years ago, so for the first 6 years. I had to give myself an increase when I moved, 3 years ago, sorry, I moved to Bristol because I had a mortgage to pay, but so you do really live. It's sort of hand to mouth, especially for the first 4 or 5 years. And the pub was in pretty dire straits, but at the same time, we kind of got also sort of like right place, right time. It was a lease. We took it on as a lease, and then after 3 years, we bought a freehold because Punch Taverns were running into a bit of trouble. And, right place, right time, and so we're able to do that. So instead of paying yourself a wage, you put the money into raising a deposit, buying freehold, and then being able to invest in your investment to make the place better, and that's what we've been doing ever since. That's what we seem to do quite a lot, to be honest. If you look at a balance sheet or P&L, you'd be like, Christ, you spend a lot of money on this pub. That's what my accountant says every year, and he's always in excess of 75,000 every year. Right. And it'll be more this year because I just revamped the kitchen. So, it's like, how can it go on? But we always try to improve, always try to be better. It's kind of a way of life, but I get a better wage now. We have 5 times the amount of staff. They get a good wage, they get a good way of life. They work 4 days a week rather than the 5. I'm trying to reduce that, so they get 3-4 days off. So I'm trying to make it work. It's not necessarily, you're never going to make yourself a millionaire on one restaurant, but this restaurant is like what I'm also experiencing now with this restaurant, the Pony, is it by working hard at it for 10 years and really solidifying a good reputation is creating endless opportunities of diversity. So diversifying in several things, which is also keeps your life interesting as well, Yeah.
Before we come on to that, the Michelin star, like the moment of that happening, what was that like? And
well,
does it, put pressure on you in a way now?
Oh God, yeah, huge pressure, double-edged sword. But it's it was a surprise. I've always said that. And it was a real shock. I did not expect to ever win a Michelin star. I never intended to win a Michelin star. And you know, we've been in the guide six times now, which equates to about 5 years, which is fantastic. But it does, and we got quite a lot of grief when we first won a star. You know, letters and saying, you know, the service is not good enough. I had to order a pint at the bar. Those sort of things, not necessarily food related, which is quite interesting because if you do buy the guide and read it, it says the Michelin star is for the food and the food alone. If you use the guide correctly, you get knives and forks for the level of service, and we got a little pint with bubbles coming out of it because it means it's a nice pub. That's exactly what it is. But also it kind of gears you on to go, right, well, hold on a second, we've got to make sure we get this right now. And the Michelin inspector will tell you, you know, don't go mad, don't panic. You won that star for what you did last year. So you just try to then keep refining what you're doing. But what it did do, so that, you know, there are negatives, because you get a bit of grief and you think, oh God. But then the positives are that it increases your revenue. That means I'm able to employ more staff and do better things. When we won a star, we were not making our own ice cream because we didn't have time and we couldn't afford a machine. We were not making our own bread because we didn't have time and we didn't have the correct oven. We do all these things now. And we churn butter. I mean, we were churning butter before we made bread because it was an easier thing to produce, to get done. So we buy really good bread but now we make it every day. We make fresh sourdough every day, 3 different types. And it's wonderful. So from my point of view, it means that I've been able to improve my offer, and it help me to do something what I wanted to achieve at the pub quicker than I would have done it anyway, because it helped my turnover or revenue go up quicker. And you see what I mean? But what we had to do was quickly try and maintain our level of quality with the increased business, which was difficult. But we did that, and now we're really starting to kind of cruise a bit, you know. You know, so we just started to revamp the kitchen. We've been waiting almost 10 years for that. It's a revelation. But you know, we went through several different permutations of what it's going to be and how we're going to do it, the best way to do it, and minimising the closure. At one point, we were going to close down for 12 weeks, and I was just like, we're going to be bankrupt if we do that. So yeah. So you know.
So you mentioned the diversification. So you know, Eat Drink Bristol Fashion. Now the World Cup.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about those two things?
Where do I start?
Yeah.
Eat Drink Bristol Fashion was created out of with our trip at the Pony. Along the way, we started the catering company. We had another pub as well at one point in a couple of years and all that. But we started a catering company. But being somewhere for such a long time, you intrinsically get to know your environment and you get to know great suppliers, and we still do to this day. I'm still chasing them. I'm getting worse, you know, I'm getting more fussy every day with what produce is coming through the door. But what you do realise is we're surrounded by some amazing produce, especially in the Chew Valley as well. And then so Eat Drink was created with a guy called Luke Hazel, who's an organic beef farmer and set up a community farm. We created it together to kind of celebrate produce from Chew Valley or surrounding Bristol, bringing it to the centre of Bristol in the form of a pop-up restaurant to celebrate the food culture that we have within this city. And literally, let's just do a festival, put some teepees up in the Queen Square. And before we knew it, a whole company on our hands. And we've done the festival for 4 years in a row now, and there's been a few offshoots. We've got the Yurt Lush cafe in Temple Key. It's a semi-permanent installation of Eat Drink. It's in a series of yurts. It's been there for 2 years. I'm hoping it's going to be there for another year, but it is temporary, so we don't know. It could get kicked off at any point. And we've done Glastonbury. We do organic burgers at Glastonbury, which is Luke's beef. Last year at Glastonbury, we had 3 sites there. It's quite a lot of work, to be honest. It's got a lot of fun as well.
As I said, a lot of our members are startups, entrepreneurs doing many things. You do so many things.
Yeah,
how do you multitask, and what's your advice for managing many hats? Is it lots of tea?
I would say being surrounded by great people, to be honest, and a huge amount of help. We have like over 85 members of staff now. When I started, it was just me and my sister. But you know, at the Pony, we have my sister who's the general manager. She manages outside catering as well. She also helps manage the operational point of view from Salt and Malt. Salt and Malt being the fish and chip shop, fish restaurant we opened. We have a general manager there. My mother runs the accounts with a girl called Lisa who does the HR and office. We have based in Bristol who also run the accounts and the HR for my dad's business. We have Amelia and Luke and Nick Roberts who run Eat Drink Bristol Fashion with me. Nick deals with the comms. Amelia is the operations director and she was amazing. She does absolutely everything. Luke is infrastructure and we're doing festivals. I have Tanya who's like a PA to me and Holly and helps with reception at Penny and Trap. I have a chef I have a head chef in Salt and Mold, a head chef at Penny and Trap. We have a head chef at the Yurt, a head chef, the development chef now who helps write all recipes for magazines and dealing with recipe documentation. And also, you know, if someone phones up sick, it used to be me, I'd be in there, now I go. But now I'm like, hold on, we've got so many sites, we need another me. So we've got Matt Holgate who helps with development and plugging holes, you know, so he does that. Today's working at Salt and Malt. So creating a really good team slowly, making sure you can afford it. And then we have a full-time guy called Miles who's like a maintenance guy who's worked with me since day one. He's a chef, he taught me as a chef. But he actually built most of the things in the Pony and Trap, like the tables and the chairs and the wine bar. And every time we do a wedding, he does the catering for the wedding. But at the same time, he helped me redesign the kitchen. He helps with all the planning of that. And he's always got something to do, whether it be making a little plate or a piece of thing to serve food on, a Great British menu, to unblock the toilets, or to put new handles up or new shelves somewhere, you know. So we have a very extensive network of people with stuff to do on a daily basis. A massive board on the wall in the office with everyone's name and their list of tasks to achieve. So that's it really. And manage that. And work every day and every second and every hour that you've got.
What is the TV exposure you've had?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that done for the business?
Not to forget the PR company as well, which also
helps. Of course, Kelly.
Which helps with all the website design and everything, really. So it's kind of just a case of me really managing all those people and bringing it all together. That's what happens on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes it literally makes you feel like your head's going to explode. And then other days when it all comes together and works, it makes you feel very proud. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So on the TV thing, what was that? Your TV appearances? Can you see any sort of direct benefit to the business?
Oh god, yeah. So with Great British Menu, it's currently on TV at the moment. It's the second series I've done. Last year was the first time I was on. You know, and I did a couple of trials in the previous years where we didn't get through, as in screen tests. And then, but for the first year, I would say last year it probably put like 20% on our revenue. And we managed to be able to maintain that, which is fantastic. Which means we've been able to employ 2 more front of house staff and 2 more chefs. Which means we've been able to revamp our kitchen. Which means we can now make handmade chocolates for everybody who comes for dinner, you know, and homemade little sweets and stuff. Which we don't charge for, we give away. Which is actually one of the most labour-intensive things to do in the restaurant. But I want people to have that experience, you know. So it's just about improving what we're doing all the time. So that TV is good for that. I'm doing it this year. And there's also another pragmatic point of view as well. Is that they give you a brief and they say, right, think about this brief, create these dishes, and then you create. I don't do anything too off the wall. I create those dishes within the cooking style that I do. So actually, a lot of those dishes can be replicated within the restaurants. People see it on the TV and they come to the restaurant, which is nice, but it also pushes you forward in the development of your cooking and your culinary skill. You have to think about something and you're forced to like, right, how are we going to do that? And we do that also with events. We do once every month we have a special event in the pub, whether it's a taste of summer, whether it's a beer tasting menu, or whether I think we're just going to do a school dinner one next year. So like back to school. So we're talking about mint custard. Do you remember green custard in school? Right, let's do something like that. So it kind of like, it pushes you to think outside the box, create new ideas, new dishes, and put a smile on people's faces. So from that point of view, it's very, very good. It's like when I initially start, pressure is huge. You have to perform, you have limited time, and you need to get it done, you know, and not mess it up. So yeah, it's the same sort of similar thing, really. Yeah.
And just finally, which entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs in the food space or not, sort of inspire you, and why?
That's a very good question. I would say everyone. So on a daily basis, I will read the trade magazines, websites, just to see what's going on in the news. I've got piles of trade magazines like that. I've got a little pile like that at home and a pile on my desk, and click through and I've got specific articles that I want to read. And I won't put them right until I've read them, because you'll learn everything from there. So I think everybody who's doing a good job and everybody who wants to do a good job inspire me to want to be able to be better at what we do.